Meet Emily, the fly who just had her mind blown by world news. Well, not exactly blown. She accidentally popped the top of her head off while washing herself. Apparently, this isn't even that rare. It happens from time to time. Why do flies do this? No one knows. Maybe it's fashion. Maybe it's trauma. Meanwhile, Emily over there is still holding her head in her hands. Probably wants to play volleyball with it. See, a lot of creatures were clearly designed by Mother Nature about 5 minutes before a deadline. And flies? Definitely one of her last-minute panic projects. You hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll keep telling you more about these poor souls of evolution. Creatures so biologically cursed, it's a miracle they're not extinct already. Now check out this pig. Her name's Babirusa. She's got these sharp spiral tusks that start growing from the moment she's born. The problem? They curl backwards toward her skull. If she's unlucky enough to live long, those tusks pierce right through her own head and into her brain. Nature's little gotcha moment, but sometimes it's not a whole species that gets wrecked. Sometimes nature bullies just one poor soul, like Joey, the bear. He was born an albino grizzly and got spotted by some animal rights activists. They thought he was a lost polar bear, so, naturally, they shot him with tranquilizers and shipped him off to Antarctica. Joey woke up cold, angry, and surrounded by a frozen wasteland. He couldn't find food, and to make it worse, the real polar bears bullied him because he was smaller. Eventually, some researchers noticed his fur was more yellow than white and realized, whoops, he's not a polar bear, he's an albino grizzly. So they knocked him out again and flew him back to North America. But poor Joey barely had time to stretch his legs when another group of activists spotted him. Guess what? Back to the Arctic Circle he went. He tried to escape to warmer lands, but people kept spotting him and shouting, OMG, a polar bear in distress. They threw him in a polar bear zoo. Thankfully, the zookeepers had more than one working brain cell, realized what he actually was, and finally sent him to the forest, where he now hides from humans forever. Let's just leave Joey alone. The guy's been through enough. Now, let's talk about sloths. How are these creatures not extinct yet? They literally don't care about anything. They also can't see in daylight, which explains why they move like a Windows 98 update. Would you try climbing trees blind? Thankfully, they've got a great sense of smell and impressive spatial memory. Still, they die from everything. They're so lazy they can't even regulate their own body temperature. If it gets too hot or too cold, the microbes in their gut, the ones digesting their food, die. And guess what? So do the sloths. Breeding? Also too much effort. Back in the day, sloths used to be massive, like several meters long. They roamed the Americas, but when humans showed up, they ate them all. They were slow, delicious, and didn't even run. Evolution really said, yeah, that's fine. Now let's look at the kiwi bird. Just looking at this creature, you can tell that nature took out all her frustration on this one. But it gets worse. Let's compare it to an ostrich, a bird about 100 times the size of a kiwi. And yet, they lay the same size egg. You heard that right. By the end of her pregnancy, the egg takes up nearly her entire abdomen. She can't even eat. There's literally no room for food, no anesthesia, no epidural, just raw, unfiltered suffering. But hey, remember Emily the headless fly? Yeah, we almost forgot about her. Might as well go full circus with this. You've probably seen flies rubbing their front legs together. No, they're not planning a global takeover, they're just cleaning themselves. That helps reduce body weight, so they can fly better and annoy everyone faster. But sometimes they get too enthusiastic and end up unscrewing their own heads. Fun. Even worse, flies don't breathe through their heads. Their respiratory system starts in the abdomen. So yeah, they can stay alive for a while even without their heads. But they don't realize what happened. They see their head on the ground, think it's food, and keep touching it. It's tragic slapstick. And without eyes, they're doomed anyway. Thanks, evolution. Great job. Hit that like button if your head's still on, and subscribe for more biological horror shows. Speaking of horror shows, let's talk about scorpions. Nature's favorite little psychopaths. They're tough, venomous, armored, and practically indestructible. And to top it off, evolution gave them a bonus feature. The ability to hold their breath underwater for up to 6 days. Sounds impressive, right? Well, they can't swim. So unless the ocean magically turns into a desert in under a week, they're just slowly drowning in style. Nice flex, scorpions. Unlike scorpions, dolphins are actually great swimmers. But fun fact, they can only hold their breath for about 10 to 15 minutes, which is kinda lame for creatures who've lived in the ocean for millions of years. Come on, evolution, do better. Let's not forget about sheep. They look fluffy and harmless, but their fluff is a death trap. If a sheep isn't sheared regularly, its wool just keeps growing until it overheats, can't move, and literally collapses. If you ever see a sheep lying on its back, help it. It's not sunbathing or doing TikTok yoga. It's suffocating. Worse still, wet wool gets heavy. A rain-soaked sheep might be too heavy to stand. Also, sheep have gassy stomachs. If flipped over for too long, those gases build up. And in extreme cases, they explode. Yes, boom, instant mutton. Thank you for watching. See you later.